Hi everyone, it's Rob Watson, the module leader for TECH2503 Community Media Production, and this is the video overview for the lecture number 13, Lucky 13, which is about being social and collaborating, being collaborative. I've produced the PowerPoint slides which have got clips and images and diagrams in, so I don't share them as usual. They're available, but the notes are available via the DMU Commons Wiki, which, if you can't remember, is dmu.our, get it right in a second, wiki.our.dmu.ac.uk, and just go to the TECH2503 page and the lecture notes section. So what we're going to cover in this session is really the idea of kind of what the technology of collaboration enables us to do that is different from different forms of media and different forms of sociability and community identity that we've maybe had in the past. And I think really it's kind of interesting that we kind of are entering an age where participation is coming to the fore very strongly. It's been kind of talked about a lot in the past, but the kind of way that we engage with each other and the way that we produce media is kind of really drawing people in to a more active, this is the idea anyway, a more active form of participation in media. So what we want to look at in this session is a kind of idea about how we can think about technology and change as a kind of way of enhancing or supporting community development or promoting community development. But what we don't want to do is essentialize technology, and we don't want to essentialize our understanding of the community and the times that we live in. So we're going to look at the idea of the trade-off, and we're going to critique the idea that kind of new technologies or changes to what we do presently or how we've done things traditionally means that if we introduce something new, we have to take something away. It's like the size of the cake is finite, and all we can do is slice the cake up in different ways rather than trying to grow the cake and expand the cake. So we're going to tie this into some critical ideas from Andrew Feenberg, who talks about the way in which paradigms of technology shift and change. So our worldview is constructed through our technology and with our technology, and our cultural view is expressed in our technology and by our technology. But as the technology changes, so too does our ability to shift our conceptualization of the world as well. And sometimes this is a gradual process, and sometimes it might lead to a sudden shift. And this is tied into the idea of the paradigm shift and the idea that our mutual understanding of the world is suddenly reconfigured because we've obtained new ways to identify and look at the world, often through new forms of technology, and new ways to participate in the world and to inquire about the world, which means our understanding of it becomes fundamentally different than it was in the past. So the challenge with this is to think about how collaborative forms of technology help us to develop integrated forms of communities, knowledge communities, communities of practice, open source technologies, shared knowledge through things like wikis. So we'll look at some of the stuff that Pierre Levy talks about in terms of the way that wikis lead to a kind of a shift in cultural production and knowledge production from something which was traditionally inherited as a form of background knowledge that we kind of passed along, and actually now it's something which is constructed in the process of sharing and exchange, which implies that there's a difference between how we used to think previously and how we will think in the future. And what do we need to do, importantly, what do we need to do to make sure that we've got the right skills, the right literacies, the right approach, the right kind of critical mindset to use these technologies and to use these ideas to effectively. But what we don't want to do, and this is reminded by John Dewey, is we don't want to kind of lock this into a kind of form of essentialism. We don't want to be deterministic about any of our communication technologies that we use and the subsequent repertoires of activity that we base around them. So it's kind of a conceptual, another conceptual lecture this week, but I'll try and ground it in as much kind of practical experience as possible. That's what Andrew Feenberg does. He gives some really good concrete examples, so we'll look at a few ideas, and we'll really think about kind of, we're asking the question, it's, you know, we have the technology, but ought we to use it in the way that we're using it? Is it sustainable? Is the use of technology something that can lead to a better world? Is community media something that can enhance our experience of life in general, or is it something that we kind of should you know, allow to be continually marginalised and sidelined? So the notes are up on the wiki, as I said. Also on the wiki, there's the reading, and this week it's looking at chapter 27 of the. Which book is it? I think it's the Kevin Howley book. Yeah, I've not written down on the notes, but on the wiki I'll do that. I think, yes, it is. It's Kevin Howley. It is there. Just not reading it properly. And also there's a YouTube video which I've posted, which is the let me just get the name. It's you might have seen this going around. It's called "This is Exactly What's Wrong with This Generation," and it's by Simon Sinek, who was interviewed on an American TV program. It's about 20 minutes long, and in it he talks about the way in which the millennial generation is being thought about as in its ability to deal with challenges and changes. And I think it has an interesting parallel to some of the discussions that we'll promote here. So that's all available on the wiki, and I'll see you in the lecture on Thursday.